Human helps alien mother and daughter. The next day, her husband came to find him. Ely Mercer swiped a greasy rag across his hands, the rough fabric snagging on calluses from years of tinkering. At 35, he'd carved a quiet life in Brimforge's industrial district, where factory smoke choked the sky a sickly orange. The hum of machines pulsed through his small repair shop, a haven of rusted parts and flickering bulbs. He hunched over a worn engine, tweaking wires with steady hands. The world outside a dull roar of industry. Life was simple here, predictable. He liked it that way. A crash at the door jolted him upright. An 8-year-old girl stumbled in, silver hair glinting under dim lights, chest heaving. "Please, hide me," she gasped, voice high with panic. Mira Vance, half Valari, her eyes wide but defiant. Shouts echoed. 3 rich kids from the elite academy, voices dripping mockery. "Freak! You don't belong here!" Eli stepped forward, broad frame blocking the entrance. "Beat it, kids. Now!" His voice was low, calm, but the wrench in his grip gleamed like a threat. The bullies froze, one sneering, "What's it to you, old man?" Eli's stare turned cold, and they backed off, muttering into the smoggy street. He knelt to Mira's level. "You okay, kid?" She nodded, clutching her side. Those rich brats, they hate me 'cause I'm half Valari." Her silver hair shimmered, almost glowing. Eli grunted, offering a stool and a chipped cup of water. She sipped, hands trembling, but eyes fierce. Valari hybrids were rare in Brimforge, their alien traits drawing cruel stares in this human-heavy city. He didn't press, just watched her steady herself. Boom! The world erupted. An explosion tore through the district, glass shattering in jagged rain. Eli yanked Mira behind the workbench, heart pounding. "Stay down!" Fire plumes lit the sky, screams mixing with alarms. Boots stormed the street, armed men in black, tactical gear, barking into comms. "Where's the silver-haired girl?" one shouted, voice sharp. Eli's Wraith unit instinct surged, sharp as a blade. No time. He shoved Mira toward the back. "Move, kid. Now." More shouts, closer. The shop groaned, beams cracking. Another blast hit, debris raining down. Eli threw himself over Mira as a steel beam slammed his left arm. Pain searing like fire. Blood pooled, hot and slick. But he dragged her with his good arm to the hidden basement door, vision spotting. Outside, a factory worker, Jax, froze mid-cigarette, heart hammering. Flames licked the sky. And those men, they weren't local enforcers. This city's rot. It's spilling over, he thought, fear twisting his gut. Whispers of corporate wars had circulated, but this felt bigger, like Brimforge was cracking open. He ducked into an alley, praying his family was safe. Eli fumbled the basement lock, pain blinding. "Get in," he rasped, shoving Mira into the dusty space, parts clattering. He bolted the door as boots thundered above. Darkness swallowed them, Mira's whimper cutting through. "It's gonna be okay, kid. Just stay quiet." His arm was useless, crushed, blood soaking his sleeve. Memories flickered. Covert ops, smoke-filled battles, comrades lost. He pushed them down. This was his new life, wasn't it? Footsteps faded, the search moving on. Eli slumped, sweat stinging his eyes. Who are those guys?" Mira whispered, her eyes glowing faintly. "Bad news. That's who." He tried to flex his fingers. Nothing. Pain clawed his shoulder. "We waited out. Got it?" Hours dragged, dust thick in the air. Mira's hand brushed his arm. "Thanks for saving me." Eli managed a weak smile. "Don't mention it." But those men weren't random. They wanted her. Why? Rescue teams pried open the basement, lights piercing the dark. Eli was barely conscious, medics lifting him onto a stretcher. "He's lost the arm," one muttered. Mira clung to his side, silver hair tangled. Eli drifted, her face blurring. "Stay quiet, kid." "We're not done yet," he mumbled before darkness took him. Hospital lights burned when Eli woke, body heavy with meds. A prosthetic hummed where his left arm was, cold and strange. It moved awkwardly, jolting his nerves. "Well, that's new," he muttered, voice rough. The room was sterile, machines beeping softly. A knock. Dr. Leora Vance, 33 CEO of Vance Stellar Energy, stepped in, suit crisp but eyes heavy with gratitude. And something else. Guilt, maybe. Mira trailed, clutching her mother's hand. "Mr. Mercer." "Eli," Leora said, voice warm but measured. "I can't thank you enough for saving Mira." The girl nodded, eyes bright. "You were so brave." Eli waved it off with his good hand. "Just did what was needed. No big deal." But Leora's sharp gaze lingered, seeing past his walls. She offered to cover his medical bills, tone steady, but off. "It's the least I can do." Mira chattered about the shop, easing the air, but Eli caught Leora's flinch when she mentioned corporate enemies targeting Mira. "She's very special. Some people might want to use that." Alone, Eli tested the prosthetic, wincing at its clunky hum. The attack was too precise, too targeted. His mind churned, instincts waking. He rolled to the bedside data terminal, fingers clumsy but quick, pulling reports. Explosion tied to Vance Stellar Energy sabotage. "Corporate enemies, huh?" he muttered, eyes narrowing. Lyra had left her contact chip. "If you ever need me, I owe you," she said, voice heavy with fear, worry. Eli stared at the chip, its glint mocking him. He'd buried the Wraith unit ghosts, sworn off that life. But this pulled at him like a hook in his gut. "Ah, well, guess it's not over." He pocketed the chip, the city's hum filtering through, smoke choking the sky, secrets buried deep. The hospital room's sterile glow burned Eli's eyes as he stirred, his body heavy under the weight of painkillers. The new prosthetic arm hummed faintly, a cold alien thing where flesh used to be. He flexed it, the motion jerky, sending a sharp jolt up his nerves. "Well, this is going to take some getting used to," he muttered, voice rough as gravel. The city's hum seeped through the window, Brimforge's orange haze pressing against the glass. He lay still, mind replaying the explosion, those men hunting Mira. Too precise, too targeted. A soft knock broke his thoughts. Dr. Leora Vance stepped in, her tailored suit crisp against the room's stark white. Mira trailed close, silver hair catching the light like a beacon. Leora's face held gratitude, but her eyes, they carried something heavier. Guilt, maybe. Fear. "Mr. Mercer." "Eli," she said, voice warm but measured. "I can't thank you enough for saving my daughter." Mira bounced forward, eyes bright. "You were so brave, like a hero or something." Eli waved it off with his good hand, the prosthetic lying limp. "Just did what was needed, kid. No big deal." But Leora's sharp gaze lingered, like she saw through his gruff exterior. He caught a flinch when Mira mentioned the bullies again, her small voice cutting through. "They always pick on me, 'cause I'm different." Leora knelt, smoothing Mira's hair. "You're special, sweetheart. That's why." Her tone was soft, but it cracked on special, and Eli's gut twisted. Leora straightened, offering to cover his medical bills. "It's the least I can do, Eli. Truly." Her eyes held that same weight, like she was carrying a secret too heavy to speak. Mira chattered about his shop, the tools, the cool junk, easing the tension. But Eli noticed Leora's hands tremble slightly when she mentioned corporate enemies who might want Mira. "She's special in ways some would exploit." The word hung in the air, sharp as a blade. Eli nodded, keeping his face neutral. "Got it. She's a good kid." But his mind was already turning, old Wraith unit habits clawing back. The attack wasn't random. Those men knew exactly who they were after. Leora handed him a sleek contact chip, its surface glinting. "If you ever need me, I owe you," she said, voice thick with, "What? Worry? Dread?" She ushered Mira out, the girl waving. "See ya, Eli." The door clicked shut, leaving silence. Alone, Eli stared at the prosthetic, testing it again. The hum buzzed louder, the motion clunky, sparking pain up his shoulder. "Piece of junk," he growled, but his focus drifted. Memories flickered. Covert missions, smoke and gunfire, faces of comrades gone. He'd sworn that life was done, buried in Brimforge's haze. But Mira's frightened eyes, those armed men, they pulled at him like a tether to a past he couldn't shake. He rolled to the bedside data terminal, fingers clumsy on the keys. The prosthetic clicked awkwardly, but he pushed through, hacking into public records. Fragmented reports loaded. Explosion linked to Vance stellar energy sabotage. "Corporate enemies, huh?" he muttered, eyes narrowing. The reports were vague. Too vague. No mention of the silver-haired girl, but the timing, the precision. It screamed setup. Someone wanted Mira, and they weren't small time. Eli leaned back, the bed creaking. His Wraith unit days taught him to spot lies, and Leora's fear wasn't just a mother's worry. She knew something, maybe not everything, but enough to shake her. The contact chip sat on the table, its faint glow taunting him. He'd walked away from the fight years ago, hadn't he? But the explosion, Mira's glowing hair, those men, it was all connected. He crossed Brimforge in a crowded market square. A street vendor named Tila paused, her cart rattling as she overheard snippets of gossip. The explosion had shaken the district, and now rumors swirled. Corporate wars, sabotage, something about a kid. This city's falling apart, she thought, her hands tightening on her cart. She'd seen the armed men from a distance, their movements too clean for street thugs. Fear gnawed at her, the kind that came from knowing Brimforge's corruption ran deep. She pulled her scarf tighter, hoping the trouble stayed far from her stall. Eli picked up the contact chip, turning it over in his good hand. "Ah, well, guess it's not over," he said, voice low, almost to himself. He pocketed it, the weight heavier than it should have been. The city's hum filtered through the window, smoke still choking the sky. Whatever was after Mira, it wasn't done, and neither was he. Leora's office was a stark contrast to the hospital's cold sterility. High in a Vance stellar energy tower, the walls gleamed with sleek metal. In a holodisplay flickered with energy grid schematics. She sat behind her desk, staring out at Brimforge's smoggy skyline, her hands clasped tight to hide their trembling. Mira was safe for now, tucked away with a trusted aide. But Leora's mind churned. Those men, they wanted her daughter. The explosion wasn't an accident, and Eli's actions had bought them time, but at what cost? She'd seen the guarded look in his eyes, the way he brushed off gratitude like it burned. He wasn't just a mechanic. Her intel on him was thin. Former military, maybe special ops, now a recluse in the industrial district. But the way he'd protected Mira, the calm under pressure, it screamed training. Leora's fingers brushed a photo of Mira on her desk, her silver hair glowing, even in the still image. "Special," she whispered, the word bitter now. She'd always known Mira's Valari heritage made her unique, but this was something else. A ping on her comm broke her thoughts. An invitation, no, a summons, to a negotiation dinner with Cade Murr, a name that made her skin crawl. "What does he want now?" she muttered, dread pooling in her chest. Cade was no ordinary businessman. His chrysalis ring syndicate had its claws in half of Brimforge's underbelly. She glanced at the hollow display, the light grid schematics glowing faintly. Her life's work meant to save the city, but now it felt like a noose. Leora stood smoothing her suit. She'd protect Mira, no matter the cost. But Eli's face lingered in her mind, his quiet strength a flicker of hope in the smog. She tapped her comm, sending a message to his hospital room. Dinner with Cade Murr. I'd like you there. Please. She didn't know why she trusted him, but she did. Maybe he was their only chance. Eli received the message as he sat in the hospital bed, the chip still in his pocket. A dinner, huh? He muttered, rubbing his neck. The prosthetic hummed, a constant reminder of the fight he'd stumbled into. Cade Murr's name wasn't new. Whispers from his Wraith unit days marked the man as a snake in a suit. Eli's gut told him this wasn't just about Mira. Something bigger was brewing, and he was already in too deep to walk away. The high-rise restaurant perched above Brimforge's smoggy skyline, its glass walls framing a city choked in orange haze. Eli stepped out of the elevator, his new prosthetic arm hidden under a worn jacket, its faint hum a constant irritant. Leora had invited him to this negotiation dinner, and he'd come, though every instinct screamed to stay away. The place reeked of wealth, polished floors, soft lights, and tables set with crystal that caught the glow of the city below. He felt out of place, a mechanic among elites, but his eyes scanned the room like a soldier's. Bodyguards stood at the edges, their hands close to concealed weapons. Hidden cameras blinked in the corners. This wasn't a dinner. It was a battlefield. Leora sat at a central table, her posture rigid, her suit as sharp as ever. She gave Eli a small nod, her eyes flickering with relief. Across from her lounged Cade Murr, 40, his tailored suit screaming money, his smile cold as steel. Dr. Vance, so good you could make it, he purred, gesturing to the seat beside her. And your guest, the hero of the hour. His gaze slid to Eli, sizing him up. Eli sat, saying nothing, his face a mask. The prosthetic twitched under his sleeve, itching for action. Cade leaned forward, sliding a data slate across the table. Let's get to business. Your late husband, Marlowe, left quite a mess. A debt, 2.7 billion credits tied to Vance Stellar Energy. Leora's composure cracked, her fingers tightening on her glass. That's impossible, she snapped. Marlowe's projects were clean. I'd know. Cade's smile didn't waver, but his eyes turned hard. Oh, but the records don't lie, Leora. Marry me and the debt vanishes. Refuse and, well, Mira might pay the price. Eli's blood ran cold. He kept his face blank, but his mind raced. The threat to Mira wasn't subtle, and Cade's confidence screamed trap. He glanced at the data slate, its screen glowing with loan documents, signatures, numbers. Too perfect, too clean. His Wraith unit training kicked in. Never trust a clean paper trail. He needed to see those files. While Cade droned on about mutual benefits, Eli's prosthetic arm whirred softly, a concealed scanner humming to life. Data streamed to his hidden comm, copying the slate's contents. Leora's voice shook, but she held her ground. I'll consider it, Cade, for Mira's sake. Her hands trembled, the glass nearly slipping. Eli caught her eye, giving a subtle nod. I've got you. Cade didn't notice, too busy smirking, but his bodyguards shifted, watching Eli closely. The air was thick, tension coiling like a spring. A waiter, young and nervous, hovered nearby, clearing plates with shaky hands. He overheard Cade's threat, his heart racing. The chrysalis ring. They make people disappear, he thought, stomach churning. He'd heard stories, workers who crossed Cade vanishing, their families left with nothing but rumors. He kept his head down, praying he'd heard nothing, seen nothing. Eli excused himself, muttering about the restroom. Be right back, he said, voice casual but eyes sharp. He slipped into a service corridor, the din of the restaurant fading. Alone, he pulled up the scanned data on his comm, fingers dancing over the screen despite the prosthetic's clunky response. The loan documents were flawless, too flawless. Signatures didn't match Marlowe's known patterns. Fingerprints were off by a fraction. Forged, all of it, he whispered, His gut screamed this wasn't about money. Cade wanted something else. But what? Back at the table, Leora stalled, her voice tight. Cade, I need time to think. This is my daughter's future. Cade leaned back, sipping his drink, his smile predatory. Time's a luxury, Leora. Don't keep me waiting. Eli returned, sliding into his seat, his face unreadable. Leora caught his glance, a silent question in her eyes. He nodded again, barely perceptible. He'd find the truth. The dinner ended with forced pleasantries, Cade's bodyguards escorting them to the elevator. Eli felt their eyes on his back, like lasers. Outside, Brimforge's smog pressed close. The city's hum louder in the night. Leora walked beside Eli, Mira safely at home with a guard. Thank you for coming, she said, voice low. I didn't know who else to trust. Eli shrugged, the prosthetic whirring softly. Didn't do much. Yet. But his mind was already working, piecing together Cade's game. The forged documents, the threat to Mira. It was all connected to something bigger. Leora stopped, her face pale under the streetlights. Cade's not just a businessman. He's dangerous, Eli. I don't know what he really wants. Eli met her gaze, his voice steady. I'll find out. Promise. She nodded, but fear lingered in her eyes, a mother's terror for her child. They parted, Leora heading to her tower, Eli to his shop. Back in his cluttered workshop, Eli sat at his workbench, the stolen data glowing on a cracked screen. He dug deeper, hacking into restricted networks, his old skills rusty but sharp enough. The forged documents led to a name, Marlowe Vance. Leora's husband, supposedly dead, except he wasn't. A classified archive showed Marlowe accessing a secure lab 18 months ago, long after his death. Eli's pulse quickened. What the hell are you playing at, Marlowe? The data trail hinted at a project, the Light Grid, a network of 12 orbital satellites meant for clean energy. But the specs were off. Capable of focusing 500 terawatts into a single beam. A weapon. Eli's stomach dropped. And Mira? Her half-Volari genes were the key. Her unique biology able to interface with the grid's core. Cade's debt was a lie, a cover to get to her. Eli leaned back, the shop's hum mixing with the city's. He needed answers, and Leora needed to know. He tapped his comm, sending her a message to meet at her office. This wasn't just about Mira anymore. It was about Brimforge as maybe the whole damn system. In a dark alley nearby, a chrysalis ring enforcer reported to Cade, his voice low. The mechanic, he's sniffing around, boss. Saw him at the dinner. He's trouble. Cade's voice crackled through the comm, cold and amused. Let him dig. He'll find nothing but his own grave. The enforcer nodded, slipping into the shadows as Brimforge's smog swallowed the night. Eli's workshop felt smaller in the dim light, tools scattered like forgotten soldiers on the battlefield. He sat at his workbench, the stolen data from Cade's slate glowing on a cracked screen. His prosthetic arm hummed, fingers tapping code to decrypt the files. The numbers blurred at first, but patterns emerged. Forged contracts, mismatched fingerprints. None of it added up to Marlowe's real records. Eli leaned back, rubbing his chin. This wasn't about debt. It was a smokescreen. He dug deeper, hacking into classified archives with old Wraith unit tricks. Firewalls crumbled under his probes, revealing logs. Marlowe Vance, presumed dead in a shuttle accident years ago, had accessed a secure lab just 18 months back. Eli's pulse quickened. Alive, the bastard's alive, he muttered, piecing it together. Marlowe had faked his death, allied with Cade to seize the Light Grid, an orbital energy network Leora had championed. The grid's specs loaded 12 massive satellites designed for clean power, but capable of channeling 500 terawatts into a focused beam, a weapon in the wrong hands. Eli's stomach twisted, and Mira? Her half-Volari genes were the key. her hybrid biology allowing her to interface with the grid's core, activating it as a living trigger. Cade and Marlowe weren't after money. They wanted control through her. Eli stood pacing the shop's cramped floor. The pieces fit too neatly. The explosion, the hunt for the silver-haired girl. It was all to force Leora's hand. He grabbed his comm, messaging her. Need to meet. Your office. Now. The city's hum vibrated through the walls. Brimforge's smoke pressing in like a shroud. Leora's office tower loomed, its glass facade reflecting the orange sky. Eli slipped past security with a nod from her aide, the elevator humming upward. She waited behind her desk, face pale, the light grid schematics flickering on a holo display. Eli, what is it? Her voice was steady, but her eyes betrayed exhaustion. He didn't waste time, laying out the data. Forge docs, Marlowe's access logs. She collapsed into her chair, hand over her mouth. No, it can't be. Marlowe's dead. I saw the reports myself. But doubt crept in, her fingers trembling as she scrolled through the files. Eli watched her, his voice calm. He faked it, Leora. Working with Cade. The grid. It's not just energy. It's a weapon. Tears welled in her eyes. I thought I was building a better world. Clean power for Brimforge. But Marlowe, he twisted it. Leora grappled with the guilt, her ambition a blindfold to Marlowe's schemes. Memories flooded, signing the grid project, trusting her husband, ignoring the red flags. Now Mira was the price. I just wanted to save this city, she sobbed, voice breaking. Eli stepped closer, his tone resolute. Then let's start by saving your daughter. She nodded, wiping her eyes, strength returning like a spark. Together they pored over the data, uncovering Cade's endgame, a staged wedding at an abandoned plant, a cover to lure Leora and Mira. The reactor there would harness Mira's energy, activating the grid. Eli's mind shifted to tactics. Entry points, guards, fail-safes. We can't do this alone, he said. Leora agreed, her voice firmer. What do you need? Eli contacted his old Wraith unit comrades, Axel, Cole, Mason. The comm crackled, voices from the past. Eli? Thought you were done with this life, Axel teased, but concern laced his words. Eli briefed them briefly. Need you here. Kid's life on the line. Silence then. We're in. Eli ended the call. The shop's quiet, broken only by the hum of his prosthetic. It ached, a reminder of the cost, but he pushed it aside. Outside in Brimforge's bustling streets, a street vendor named Wren paused, overhearing whispers of unrest. Corporate towers glowing, factories churning. But something felt off. The city's boiling, he thought, fear for his family growing. Rumors of power plays, a wedding that wasn't what it seemed. He shook his head, focusing on his cart. But the unease lingered, like smoke in the air. Leora stood by her window, staring at the smog. Mira's jeans. I never imagined they'd be used like this. Her voice was soft, regret heavy. Eli nodded. We'll stop them. But we move fast. She turned, determination in her eyes. Thank you, Eli. For everything, he shrugged. Just fixing what's broken. The plan formed. Infiltrate the plant, disable the reactor, extract Mira. Eli upgraded his prosthetic in the shop, adding a pulse emitter, wincing as it synced with his nerves. Sparks flew, the arm glowing briefly. Better, he muttered. Leora's schematics arrived via secure link. The plant's layout, a maze of tunnels and reinforced cores. As night fell, Eli met the team at a rundown bar on the outskirts. Axel spread a holomap tracing paths. 3-mile tunnels, reactor in the heart. Cole grinned, packing charges. We'll blow the right spots. No boom, just shutdown. Mason checked his rifle, joking. Still fixing junk, Eli? The group laughed, tension easing for a moment. Eli briefed them fully, Mira's role, Marlowe's betrayal. This grid could level cities if weaponized. The mood shifted, grim nods around. Leora joined via comm, providing more details. The fail-safes in the control room, manual override only. The team plotted, tunnels for entry, avoid Cade's 50-man force with plasma rifles. Eli tested his upgraded arm, the pulse emitter humming. Pain shot through, but he gritted through it. "We're ready," Axel said, clasping Eli's shoulder. "Let's bring the kid home, brother." Eli nodded, the weight settling. This wasn't his fight, but it was now. In the shadows of Brimforge, Cade met Marlowe in a hidden lair, screens flickering with grid data. "The mechanic's digging," Cade said, smirking. Marlowe's cold eyes narrowed. "Let him come. The wedding proceeds." They laughed, but tension hung. Mira's power was the prize, and failure wasn't an option. Eli lay in his shop that night, staring at the ceiling. The prosthetic hummed softly, a companion in the quiet. Tomorrow it began. For Mira. For Leora. The city hummed on, secrets deepening in the smoke. The rundown bar on Brimforge's outskirts smelled of stale smoke and cheap synth alcohol, its dim lights casting long shadows over scarred tables. Eli pushed through the door, the city's hum fading behind him. His prosthetic arm whirred softly under his jacket. The pulse emitter a new weight. Axel, Colmy, and Mason waited in a corner booth, their faces weathered by years of battles but eyes sharp with loyalty. Axel, the strategist, nodded first, his graying hair tied back. "Eli, you look like hell. That arm new?" Eli slid into the seat. "Fresh from the fight. Thanks for coming." Cole, the demolitions guy, grinned wide, his tattoos peeking from rolled sleeves. "Wouldn't miss it, boss. Been too long since we blew something up." He unpacked compact charges from a bag, small but potent, designed to disable without total destruction. Mason, the sharpshooter, leaned back, cleaning his rifle with practiced hands. "Still fixing broken things, Eli? Or just breaking them now?" The joke landed light, easing the tension, the group chuckling like old times. Eli spread a hollow map on the table, the abandoned plant's layout glowing blue. Axel traced the paths, noting the 3-mile maze of tunnels, the reinforced reactor core at the center. "Tight security, but tunnels give us entry." Eli briefed them on Mira's role, her hybrid genes key to the light grid, and Marlowe's betrayal. "This isn't just a grab. They turn her into a battery. The grid becomes a weapon. Levels cities." The mood shifted, faces hardening with grim determination. Cole whistled low. "Damn. Kids ate?" Outside the bar, a street vendor named Sarah paused her cart, overhearing snatches of talk through the open window. Armed teams, a plant, unrest brewing. "City's gonna explode," she thought, fear for the worsening chaos gripping her. Whispers of corporate wars had grown louder, and this felt like the spark. She hurried on, pulling her hood low against the smog. Lyra joined via secure comm, her face appearing on the hollow. "I have schematics. The reactor's failsafe needs manual override from the control room." Her voice was steady, but worry lined her eyes. Axel nodded, incorporating the data. "We'll split, Eli and Cole to the chamber, Mason sniping cover, me on diversions." They planned infiltration via maintenance tunnels, dodging Cade's 50-man force armed with plasma rifles. "Hit fast, quiet, no heroes," Eli said, his tone firm. Eli tested his upgraded prosthetic, the pulse emitter sparking blue. It synced painfully with his nerves, a jolt running up his arm. "This'll do," he muttered, flexing it. Cole slapped his back. "Like old times, eh? Wraith unit rides again." The group shared a nod, bonds forged in fire rekindling. Lyra ended the call with a quiet thanks. "Bring her home, Eli." He pocketed the comm, the weight of her trust heavy. Axel clasped his shoulder as they parted. "We're with you, brother. Let's bring the kid home." Eli stepped into the night, the bar's door creaking shut. The city's orange sky loomed, factories churning endlessly. Back at his shop, Eli prepped gear, tools, a sidearm, extra charges from Cole. The hum was steadier now, the pain a dull ache. Memories surfaced, wraith missions, stealth runs through enemy lines. He'd left that life, but it never left him. Mira's face flashed in his mind, innocent and brave. This was for her. In Vancy's Stellar Energies tower, Leora paced her office, Mira asleep in the next room. "Marlowe, how could you?" she whispered, staring at old photos. The light grid schematics glowed. A dream turned nightmare. Her comm buzzed. Cade's invitation to the wedding. Dread coiled in her gut. She had to play along, stall, until Eli's team struck. Axel in a safe house reviewed the map again, marking weak points. Cole tested a charge, a small pop echoing. Mason sighted his rifle, calm as ever. The team was set, loyalty binding them tighter than any order. Eli lay on his cot, staring at the ceiling. The prosthetic hummed softly, a reminder. Tomorrow the plant, the rescue. One step at a time, he told himself. The city hummed on, secrets in the smoke. The battle looming. Marlowe watched from a hidden feed, Cade at his side. "The mechanics gathering friends," Cade said, smirking. Marlowe's cold eyes gleamed. "Let them come. The grid awakens soon." They toasted, plans unfolding in the shadows. The abandoned power plant loomed on Brimforge's edge, its rusted spires piercing the smoky sky like jagged teeth. Flickering energy conduits snaked across its facade, casting eerie blue glows through the haze. Eli crouched in the shadows with the Wraith unit, heart steady but pulses racing. The air was thick with ozone and rust, the distant hum of reactors vibrating the ground. This was it. No turning back. Axel signaled and they moved, slipping into the maintenance tunnels like ghosts. Inside, the tunnels were dank and narrow, dripping with condensation, the walls slick underfoot. Motion sensors blinked faintly, but Mason disabled them with a quick EMP pulse from his kit. Eli led, his upgraded prosthetic humming softly, the pulse emitter ready. Cole whispered, "Smells like death down here, eh?" Eli nodded, eyes scanning for threats. The plan was solid. Reach the reactor chamber, extract Mira, shut it down. Above ground, the wedding unfolded in the plant's vast hall, a mockery under harsh lights. Leora walked the aisle in a forced white dress, her steps measured, face a mask of defiance. Cade's armed men lined the path, plasma rifles at their sides, eyes cold. Cade waited at the altar, smirking in his suit, but Leora's gaze burned with hidden fire. "This changes nothing, Cade," she muttered, voice low. He chuckled. "Oh, it changes everything, darling." Haforn. Mira was locked in a glass chamber at the reactor's heart, wired to humming machines, her small fists banging on the transparent walls. "Mom, let me out," she cried, silver hair glowing faintly with surging energy. The reactor thrummed louder, sparks dancing as her hybrid genes interfaced unwillingly. Leora's heart twisted, but she kept her composure, buying time. In the tunnels, Eli's team pressed on, boots quiet on metal grates. A guard patrol echoed ahead. Cole signaled a halt. They waited, breaths held as footsteps passed. Then a sensor pinged. Alarms blared. Firefight erupted. Guards poured in, plasma bolts sizzling the air. Cole lobbed charges, targeting a generator. Boom! Lights flickered out, plunging the tunnels into chaotic darkness, only emergency reds glowing. Eli pushed forward, returning fire, his sidearm barking. "Keep moving." Mason covered from a ledge, sniper shots cracking precise, dropping 2 guards. Axel flanked, grenades rolling to pin others. Eli reached the chamber access, working the locks with his prosthetic. Mira's energy surged inside, arcs of blue lightning cracking across the reactor, shaking the walls. "Hang on, kid. Almost there." Cade in the hall above raged as reports came in. "Secure the asset, now!" he barked, face twisting. Leora seized the moment, arguing fiercely. "This is madness, Cade. You can't just use her like this." She stalled, voice rising, drawing his focus. Think of the power, the control. He grabbed her arm, but she twisted free, eyes flashing. Her words bought precious seconds for Eli below. A guard near the chamber hesitated, plasma rifle lowered, shaken by Mira's terrified screams echoing through vents. The kid's cries pierced him, her glowing hair an haunting sight. What are we doing? She's just a child, he thought, loyalty cracking under the weight. He stepped back, conflicted, as chaos swirled. Mason's sniper fire cleared the path above, bolts whizzing, guards falling. Eli bashed through the final lock, but his prosthetic shorted out, sparks flying, the emitter fried from an energy surge. Damn it! He relied on raw strength, prying the door with his good arm, muscles straining. Mira's chamber hissed open, her energy flaring wildly. Then Marlowe appeared from the shadows, holding the grid's control device, its screen pulsing red. This is humanity's future, he said coldly, voice echoing over the alarms. Eli spun, sidearm raised. By turning your own daughter into a battery? You're twisted, Marlowe. Biquous. Marlowe's eyes were ice. Sacrifice for progress. A step aside. The reactor groaned, Mira's power overloading circuits, the plant shaking. Cole yelled from the tunnel, "Incoming reinforcements!" Axel covered the rear, firing bursts. Leora, hearing the commotion, broke from Cade, racing toward the chamber stairs. "Mira! Hold on!" Eli lunged at Marlowe, the device glinting. "Fight on!" Plasma grazed his shoulder, but he pressed, the darkness alive with battle. Mira screamed, energy beams arcing, illuminating the chaos. Mason picked off another guard, his shot steady. The guard who hesitated turned away, slipping into shadows, his conscience winning. Cade stormed down, barking orders. "Stop them! The grid activates now!" Leora dodged a guard, her dress tearing, determination fueling her. Eli grappled Marlowe, the device slipping in their struggle. Sparks flew, the reactor's hum rising to a roar. In the multi-dimensional haze, a plant worker hidden in vents watched, heart pounding at the violence. Gunfire, screams, the child's glow. It was all too much. This ends tonight, he thought, slipping a silent alert to authorities. Eli landed a punch. Marlowe staggering, but the overload built. "Get Mira out," he shouted to himself. Raw strength his only tool now. The wedding farce shattered into war, Brimforge's fate hanging in the balance. Leora reached the lower levels, spotting Eli's fight. "Eli, the control room. I'll handle the reactor." She veered off, dodging bolts. Cole's charges boomed again, sealing a tunnel. Mason reloaded, sweat beading. "Path clear, Werty, for now." Marlowe recovered, device raised. "You can't stop evolution." Eli charged, the clash violent amid surging energy. Mira's cries fueled him, the plant trembling like a beast awakening. Outside, military drones hummed in response to anonymous tips, closing in. The end neared. Cade cursed, rallying his men. The fake wedding had become a bloodbath, drama peaking in fire and shadow. Eli's world narrowed to the fight, prosthetic dead but will unbroken. For the kid, for the light. The reactor chamber pulsed with chaotic energy, beams arcing wildly like trapped lightning, the air crackling with ozone. Eli faced Marlowe, sweat stinging his eyes, his damaged prosthetic sparking erratically. Mira's power overloaded the system, her screams echoing from the glass chamber, silver hair blazing with unnatural light. The plant shook, metal groaning under the strain. Marlowe stood tall, control device in hand, his face a mask of cold conviction. Marlowe's voice cut through the din, calm and unyielding. "The light grid will end war, unite planets under one power. This is progress, Mercer." Eli's grip tightened on his sidearm, blood from a graze seeping warm. "By sacrificing your daughter? You're no savior, you're a monster." Marlowe's eyes narrowed, gauntlets humming to life. Energy fields shimmering around his fists. They clashed, Marlowe's high-tech gauntlets swinging with precision against Eli's brute force, and wraith training. Sparks flew from Eli's prosthetic as it blocked a blow, the arm shuddering but holding. Eli countered with a knee to the gut, Marlowe staggering back. Pain flared in Eli's side, but he pressed, years of ops fueling his moves. The chamber vibrated, Mira's energy surging out of control, beams lashing walls. Leora dodged gunfire in the upper corridors, boots pounding metal grates. Guards fired plasma bolts, sizzling past her. She rolled behind a console, returning fire with a stolen pistol. "Keep going. For Mira," she whispered, breath ragged. Reaching the control room, she slammed the door, fingers flying over panels to shut down the reactor's core systems. Alarms wailed, red lights flashing. Mira's screams intensified, her small body glowing brighter, hybrid energy destabilizing the grid. The overload threatened a 10-kilometer blast radius, the plant's structure creaking dangerously. Wires sparked, consoles exploding in showers of embers. Eli glanced at her, heart twisting. "Hold on, kid." Cole and Axel held the tunnels against Cade's reinforcements, smoke grenades rolling to cloud the air. "Pin 'em down," Cole yelled. Precise strikes from his charges, crumpling walls, trapping groups. Axel fired bursts, keeping enemies at bay. "We can't hold forever, Eli! Move!" Plasma scorched the ground, but they stood firm, loyalty unbreakable. Eli landed a heavy blow, his good fist cracking Marlowe's jaw, the control device flying from his grasp. It skittered across the floor, blinking red. But Marlowe retaliated, a gauntlet strike grazing Eli's side with plasma burn. Blood seeped through his shirt, hot and sticky. Eli staggered, vision blurring, but grabbed Marlowe's collar. "It's over, Vance." Lyra overrode the reactor, her voice crackling through comms. "Get her out now!" As the chamber's glass began to crack, spiderwebs spreading. The energy faded slightly, the hum dropping. Eli released Marlowe, lunging for the chamber. With raw strength, he smashed the weakened glass, shards raining down. Mira tumbled out, gasping, her glow dimming. He scooped her up, her small arms clinging. "Uncle Eli, it hurts." The grid's energy faded, the plant shaking violently, debris falling. Marlowe collapsed to his knees, defeated, as military drones swarmed in, alerted by Leora's distress signal. Rotors whirred, floodlights piercing the chaos, troops rappelling down. "Hands up! You're under arrest!" Cade, cornered in the hall, cursed as cuffs clicked on, his empire crumbling. Eli carried Mira through the smoke, Cole and Axel flanking, covering their exit. "We did it," Axel said, voice hoarse. Leora met them at the tunnels, tears streaming as she took Mira. "My baby, you're safe." The group emerged into Brimforge's night, the plant's lights dimming behind. Months passed, the skies over Brimforge shifting to a clearer blue, clean energy flowing from salvaged grid parts. Leora led Project Mercer, honoring Eli's sacrifice, powering the city sustainably. Eli worked in his shop, scars faded, new prosthetics smooth, a gift from her company. Mira visited often, bouncing with energy. "Uncle Eli, do you still fix things?" He smiled, tweaking a gadget. "Everything that's broken, kid." A citizen outside marveled at the cleaner air, grateful for unseen heroes. Leora stopped by, sharing quiet words. "You gave us a second chance." Eli nodded, peace settling. Mira asked, "Even hearts?" Eli looked to the sunlight. "Yes, even hearts." The city buzzed with hope, no longer cloaked in lies. Eli watched Mira run off, a flicker of peace in his chest. Some battles were worth it. Months later, Brimforge's skies cleared slightly, the orange haze giving way to a soft bluish glow as clean energy pulsed through the city. Factories hummed with renewed purpose, their smokestacks spewing less poison, the air lighter for the first time in years. Leora Vance stood at the helm of Project Mercer, a new initiative born from the light grid's salvaged safe components. She gazed out from her tower office, the schematics on her hollow display now symbols of hope, not horror. Mira played nearby, her silver hair catching the sunlight, laughter echoing like a promise. Eli Mercer worked in his shop, the cluttered space feeling warmer under the clearer light. His scars had faded, the plasma burned a faint line on his side, a reminder but not a chain. The new prosthetic, a sleek gift from Leora's company, moved smoothly, its hum a quiet companion. He tweaked a small gadget, wires twisting under his fingers, the work steady and familiar. Life had settled, but echoes of the battle lingered in quiet moments. Mira burst through the door, bouncing with energy, her 8-year-old curiosity undimmed by the ordeal. "Uncle Eli, do you still fix things?" she asked, eyes wide. Eli set down his tools, a genuine smile creasing his face. "Everything that's broken, kid." His voice was warm, tinged with weariness, but lighter than before. She climbed onto a stool watching him work, her small hands mimicking his motions. A Brimforge citizen, an older woman named Alara, walked the streets below, pausing to breathe deeply. The cleaner air filled her lungs, a marvel after decades of smog. Grateful for those unseen heroes, she thought, her steps lighter. Whispers of the plan and battle had spread. Corporate takedown, a girl's rescue, but details stayed shadowed, the city healing in their wake. Leora stopped by the shop later, her suit casual now, a soft smile on her lips. "Eli, I wanted to check in." She leaned against the workbench, watching Mira chatter. Project Mercer's thriving, the grid's powering homes, factories, without the darkness. Eli nodded, wiping his hands. "Good to hear. You did that, Leora." She shook her head. "We did. You gave us a second chance. Saved us all." They shared a quiet moment, the weight of the past easing. Leora touched his arm gently. "Marlowe and Cade, they're locked away." The military wrapped it tight. Eli grunted. "Better that way." Mira tugged at his sleeve. "Uncle Eli, fix this?" She held a broken toy, eyes pleading. He took it, tools whirring. "See? Easy." The city buzzed with hope outside, streets alive with people, factories no longer cloaked in lies and smoke. Eli glanced out the window, sunlight streaming in. A rare sight in Brimforge. Mira's question pulled him back. "Even hearts?" she asked, tilting her head. Eli paused, looking at the sunlight, then at Leora and Mira. "Yes, even hearts." His reply was soft, a flicker of peace settling in. Leora laughed lightly, ruffling Mira's hair. "Come on, sweetheart. Let Uncle Eli work." Mira hopped down, waving. "Bye. Fix more stuff." As they left, Eli watched them go, a warmth in his chest he hadn't felt in years. The shop door closed, but the light remained. In the streets, workers chatted, the bluish glow illuminating faces free of masks. Brimforge was changing, one clean breath at a time. Eli returned to his gadget, the prosthetic moving with ease. The Wraith unit ghosts had quieted, replaced by this new rhythm, fixing, protecting in small ways. Axel messaged later, checking in. "Team scattered, but good. You holding up?" Eli replied simply, "Yeah, fixing things." The exchange was brief, bonds enduring without words. Leora and Mira walked home, the girl's hand in her mother's. "Mom, is the sky always going to be blue now?" Leora smiled. "We're working on it, love." The project thrived, Vance stellar energy redeemed, the grid a beacon of true progress. Eli stood at his window that evening, the sun dipping low, casting golden hues through the blue. Some battles were worth fighting. For this, he turned back to his work, the city humming with life, the dawn brighter than before.